Welcome to the Gaming Outsider Podcast. This week, Zack, Jacob, and I welcome artist Renaldo Cooper to discuss which aspect of art in video games matters most to us and the community. In news, the Switch 2 hasn't been announced as of this episode, but Nintendo still had a direct with lots of announcements for the first Switch. As for new games discussed, I played a narrative game called Afterlove EP, and Mark stops by to tell us about a couple of cozy games he's been playing, Urban Jungle and Tiny Garden. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to the Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found at thegamingoutsider.com. We've also got a community at facebook.com/groups/thegocast, and even a Discord server. There's a link for it in the show notes of this episode. It is Tuesday, April 1st. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my good friends, Mr. Zack Parkerson. How you doing, man?
I'm back.
You are back. It's good to see you, man.
Yeah.
You only missed one episode this time, but it feels like forever, man. I miss you, man.
Well, yeah, it was a shame to miss out on the Assassin's Creed Shadows talk, but you know,
we'll get there.
You're very convincing.
So we did convince you to play it?
Maybe.
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and
stay tuned to find out.
Yeah. Also joining us, Jacob Gunderson. How you doing, man?
For your viewing pleasure, I am here.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Unfortunately, Chris is not going to be here today because he decided to sit one out because we had a very special guest joining us. It gives me great pleasure to welcome to the show my coworker, but also artist, Renaldo Cooper. Renaldo, how you doing, sir?
I'm great. Happy to be here. Finally talking some gaming, some art, all the good stuff. I'm with it.
Yeah, dude. And I've been talking you up because we don't really get to talk. We get to talk to some people in the industry, and you've actually done some art in the industry. In fact, you've done some art on it, or you have to explain exactly how it works, but in a game that we will probably all recognize. You want to let everybody know what that is?
Oh, yeah. So I got subletted to work on Hollow Knight to do some color correction, which was beautiful. And I didn't really know what the game was when they initially gave it to me. I just saw a whole bunch of assets, kind of like the ones floating behind us here. And the question was, well, how do I get these where I can downsize them? You know, a whole bunch of computer jargon. Basically, space is a key thing that they need. So I found a way to make sure that all of the grading came down for one specific level. I haven't actually played the game, like tier. I need to play it. But when I found out was I saw somebody playing and I'm like, wait, I understand. Those are the same colors on those assets that. Okay, cool. So yeah, Fiverr, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
Wow,
that's indie.
Fiverr. Yeah, no, it's indie behind the indie, and then it's under the table, and that's Fiverr. So yeah.
The thing that's wild to me about that is like you're doing color correction for a game that you don't even know what it is. Like, did you have to sign an NDA even though you didn't know what the game was?
No, because here's how it worked. Like, imagine if you're writing a paper and somebody sent you like 6 words out of the paper to fix.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, they just sent you like, oh yeah, color this rock correctly and then figure out what these colors are. Like, okay, cool, send it back. And they're like, wait a minute, I know that rock. And like that's basically what happened. So
interesting.
Yeah,
that is interesting. Well, man, we're really excited to have you here. Our topic was centered around you being our guest, so we're looking forward to it. But before we get there, we got to talk about the games we've been catching up on. And let's start with you, sir. What have you been playing?
Oh man, see, I'm gonna look like Unk when it comes to these games because everything that I played is easily 2-3 years old. But Rise of the Ronin is my top one at this point. Like, oh my goodness. Like, and I feel like I probably should get into the Sekiros and then like the Ghost of Tsushima because like my little brother's like, yeah, you need to play those. But I love Rise of the Ronin right now. That one's been one. What else I've been playing? Street Fighter 6. What did you say?
Is Rise of the Ronin, is that Team Ninja?
I believe so, yeah. That's the one. It got ragged a little bit, but I don't understand it. It's one of those ones where I picked the controller up and I didn't stop playing until I had to. So it was really cool. And it had creative character that was amazing. Like, I'm one of those people who are sucker for that, where like I need to make that eyelash to the left and it'll just So yeah, it was beautiful for me. Like the storyline, you know, it's like typical, you know, feudal Japan, you know, throw in a little bit guns that don't exist yet, but it's still cool. But I think that one, the artwork and the gameplay are just beautiful.
Yeah, dude, I am not the character creation guy. I think we talked about this
Yeah.
at school. Like I'm just like hit Y to randomize until it looks cool and I'm fine. You made it sound like you're like at 2 weeks before you actually get into the game because you're spending that much time.
Oh no, like my character, you would swear it's a real person. Like I'm over here doing the full cosmetic of the nose and the lips, like it's a thing. Because I don't want to play the game, and I'll even stop the game once I start, and then go back and be like, nah, that leg ain't right. Like it's yeah, I'm that guy. But yeah, other than Rise of the Ronin, Street Fighter 6, because it's another creative character. So like I'm like, you know what? We're in here.
Yeah.
It's create a character time. And then an older one that came out a couple years back, like 4 or 5 years back, Need for Speed Heat.
Oh wow, okay.
Loved it. Like still love it to this day. I know like that gaming community is like all 5 people, but like it's amazing. Like if you can get that for free or for the low, you won, because I bought that for like the $99 package and it was amazing.
No.
Every dollar.
Got your money's worth.
Man,
I assume all 5 of those people you find to play with though are dedicated as hell.
man, I'm telling you, they know what's up. Like, yeah, there's some guy in like a 55 Mustang just like killing people out here, and Ferrari Enzo, it's over for you. Like it, yeah, it's really good. But yeah, those are the ones I'm trying to get back in the game, in which I'm glad that Scott brought me in on this, because trying to break back into it, because I was like a hardcore gamer in college, like winning money off of Street Fighter. So trying to get back there.
So you're serious about Street Fighter?
I'm so serious about Street Fighter that people would come up and I'm like, you can pick my character. We can go random. Let's see what you about to do. And then it gets ugly. So yeah, I'm trying to get back there because it's different now. Like, they change systems but yeah, I'm gonna get to it for sure.
Dude, I will not be able to compete against you in Street Fighter. I haven't played Street Fighter since like I haven't played Street Fighter to the point where I was even remotely competitive since like Street Fighter Alpha 2. I think was the last one I got into.
Yeah, no, like I was pretty good up until 5, so I guess I wasn't too far off.
Yeah,
but then like there's a whole bunch of politics. You can't use these characters, like, bruh, like you gonna take the whooping or not? Like it just all these rules. But yeah, it's a great time, guys. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Anything else you've been catching up on, or?
Just a lot of game trailers.
And
I don't know which trains to jump on now, because like gaming's different. Like back in the 90s, be like, I like that game. Everyone's like, we're gonna wait till it comes out. Like nowadays, hey, you seen that new Crash game? Crash is murder. Like, bro, like just let me get to the game first.
Well, we're also drinking from a fire hose. There's like so many games out there, it's hard to keep up. But you're in luck. I know of a really great podcast you can listen to and keep up on all the games. Just saying.
I see that. Well,
when he says really great podcast.
All right, Zach, let's move on to you. What have you been catching up on, man? I know what you've been catching up on, but I'm really excited to hear about it.
Well, I guess first, I've been playing Assassin's Creed 2 Ways this past week. I picked up the Ezio collection on Switch, so I've been playing Assassin's Creed Brotherhood because everyone is out here playing Shadows, and I was like, let me play the good Assassin's Creed. Obviously,
I want to play the good stuff.
give me that, give me that right into my veins. And Brotherhood, still incredible. I mean, come on, this game holds up. There's so much to do in that game. In Roma, you're solving mysteries, you're assassinating guys, obviously, but I don't know. I like the villain in that game too. If you remember Cesare Borgia,
they brought it to history.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
Going against, yep, he's out there banging his sister. It's good stuff.
Oh,
that's real.
My big question though is because I haven't heard of any of these games played on Switch. How's the performance on that platform?
So, well, they do a funny thing because they still say remastered, but if you like read the box, it says remastered gameplay. So the graphics are just the same they were on PS3 or 360, so it runs fine, just fine.
Okay,
yeah, but they actually like remaster these games for PS4, but the Switch, it's just they have some gameplay improvements that comes with all the DLC, but it looks the same as it used to, which for me is fine because a lot of times remasters make characters look funny.
Yeah, it beefed them up for new generation of games and then dumbed them down for the Switch again.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
pretty
fine.
much, yeah.
It's what I want. Give me the improvements to the gameplay, but leave the graphics as crappy as they used to be. That's all I like.
That's tough.
But yeah, it runs well. Yeah, dude, it runs good on handheld. I've been playing it mostly that way. It's a lot of fun.
Nice. Glad to hear it. All right, dude.
But then I guess more concerningly to you is I played Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Nice.
It's the first time I played an Assassin's Creed at release since was it Odyssey that I reviewed infamously for the site.
Yes, I remember. I think everybody remembers.
But no,
Odyssey's one of my favorite games, so shut up.
Wow. I'm sorry. You love average games.
Yikes.
But Assassin's Creed Shadows, far from average.
Ooh.
Scott, I'm loving Assassin's Creed Shadows. I think this game's great.
What?
I was really worried that I oversold it on last week's episode.
I don't think so, man. I mean, you guys were talking it up pretty high, but I mean, it has stealth again.
Yeah, right.
Right.
You know, which is just like a little side mode in Odyssey or Valhalla, but here it's such a focus. You can actually you can like blow out light sources and stuff. You can control it. You can go prone.
Mm-hmm.
The stealth. I know you talked about all this stuff last week, but this is all very exciting for me. You know, I don't know, dude. I was getting some of that Splinter Cell vibes, sneaking in, like sliding open doors and just taking dudes out while they're just praying to their Buddhist god or whatever.
Yeah, that's the part that makes me feel guilty because you go into these like buildings and there's dudes that are just hanging out. They're not like really enemies. They're just there and you can just straight up murder them. And like
you can go super metal and be like, let him finish his prayer. Like, I mean, might as well.
Your last word in.
Finish your prayer and make it good.
Yeah, but here's the thing is like I kept doing that and I actually got a fail state where it said too many innocent people have died and it kicked me back out and made me restart the mission.
Oh,
so I was like,
such warning, I assure you.
So like
I'm killing every janitor I see is dead because I know they're gonna go tell their little daddy and mommy that there's a ninja in the fort. And I can't have that.
My way is like, hey, if you come after me and attack me, that's on you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I'm not gonna go in all aggressive, but if you hit me first, you know, you're done, son. I'm like it's my question for you though, because you said it's very stealthy and you've actually gotten further in the main story than I have. So you've actually got Yasuke, right?
I do. Yeah.
So are you still stealthy with that dude? Because he's a hulking beast of a man.
Yeah. He's the like if you need to blow off some steam, go ahead and just send Yasuke in because does like early game have the wanted system where they send people out after you?
I haven't seen that yet. That's where like Ronins come after you or whatever.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. That gets introduced when you have the two characters. So I was playing as Naue. I really messed up some stealth, and so I had these like pursuers, and they're just like all over the place. Mm-hmm. And so it was kind of frustrating to deal with. So I was like, all right, I'll check out this Yasuke fella outside of us. This is how I played outside of a story moment for the first time. And yeah, he just walks in there, just straight up, just hacking dudes' heads off, you know, just stabs him through the gut and raises him and like throws him to the side. It's pretty cool. But it's kind of like easy mode really. Cause you just walk into instead of like having to, you know, recon these forts and find your best path. I'm just like spurting up to everybody I see and just hacking away with them at a giant katana.
I saw some videos on something where like he's got one of those heavier weapons, and if you hit them with like full power or whatever, they just like fly across the screen, which, you know, I'm not going to go as far as to say Assassin's Creed is realistic, but it's a little bit more grounded than a lot of games, and it just feels like that stuff is just like, okay.
Yeah, it's got the Odyssey kick.
Yeah.
Jake would be familiar with. But so I've mostly been playing as Naue because she is the stealth focus. Because Yasuke he can barely climb stuff. If you try to get him like to go across like a balance beam or something, he's like almost falling off the whole time. So it's just a little bit. He's just more restrictive, I guess. So I just like to send him in to kill guys.
Gotcha. So how far into the story are you? Because I was like 3 assassinations in. I assume you've surpassed that by a good margin.
I've completed Act 1, which is I think 4 people in the main circle are dead now.
Okay.
And so yeah, I mean so not much further than you, it sounds like. But I wanted to beeline it because I wanted to get to Yasuke and see what was going on with him because he's got a really great premise brought over as a Portuguese slave.
Dude, that setup is great. It's not what I was expecting. I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, I gotta pick it up because because a lot of the stuff that's been talked about it, like I know the historical side of Yasuke, so then like I really want to see the creative role that they played in it, just to see what they did with it.
What is what is Yasuke's story like in real life? Because I don't know the history at all.
Okay, so I'm gonna just strip it down the middle because there's one side where he was like God samurai, and then the other side is like, well, he was just some black dude who was a slave. So like down the middle, the undeniable part is the fact that there was a black guy named Yasuke who was like 6'2" or 6'3", which is like unheard of at the time. And I don't want to misquote the period, but I believe that it was like post-feudal. So there was a little war going on between everybody there, and the emperor at the time had never seen a black person, so he had bathed him multiple times to see if his skin color was actually that. So after that, he became like one of his like best friends, and he became a samurai. Like that's pretty much all history tells us. Now all the extra were like he fought 1,000 men, 15 miles in the snow both ways. Like I don't know any of that, but like I do know that he was a samurai. He was a black dude from Portugal. So I really want to see what they do with it.
In Shadows, it seems like he's about 7 feet tall.
Yeah, of course.
He's killing 400 dudes at a time. But it's no, I like him. I like he has a kind of a minor connection to Naue that's interesting. But I really like her too. I think she's a great protagonist. I like that she is. I guess I don't want to spoil anything, but the actual assassin order plays a role in this story, which is that's a change. When was the last time Syndicate that you actually played like a proper assassin?
Probably. I mean, Origins was like the origin of it, right? So
right, but I'm saying like, but they call themselves the hidden ones or whatever,
Yeah.
So this is like the actual organization is back, which is thrilling for me. And I like the way the small ways they're tying in the Animus stuff is really interesting here. So I really don't have any complaints with Shadows. I think the game is awesome, and I keep wanting to just play it.
I want to keep playing it as well too, but I don't know that I'm going to keep playing it the way I've been playing it, which is to clear everything off of the map before moving on to the main story. I enjoy that. That's just how I like to play Assassin's Creed games. But unlike other Assassin's Creed games, it's not doing me a ton of good because of the way the enemies level. You're always still going to be like right about the same level of those characters, so you're not ever really at a super advantage, which is why you did it, because I loved going in and just feeling like a god. Although I am getting the extra powers like on the skill tree.
Wait, am I reading this right? Like when you play the game, there's like what do they call it? A creep. Like there's power creep with your opponents now.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
so like the characters to have a level over them. Like my character is level 13. So when I go into the compounds or whatever to clear out these enemies and camps, they have a number on them, and like the low level janitors like Zack was talking about are 1, but then the guys that I'm actually fighting are going to be around like somewhere between 11 and 15.
Whereas I thought it was across the base where like the creep would be like you show up at like 85, right? And then you go to the janitors, like why is he not 1? He's like at least 45 now. Like you see what I mean? Like the janitor, he might throw some things with you. Like that's what I was expecting. But yeah, no, that makes sense though. Like at least it keeps it interesting.
Right, but
it sounds like Scott, you just need to get Yasuke.
Apparently, I just need easy mode. Is that what you're saying? Kevin, our producer, says that I just don't like challenge. It's not that I don't like challenge. It is that that's how I like to play games. I like going in and hitting the main story feeling like a god. You know what I mean? And it's not like these games are super challenging. It's not like a Souls or an Elden Ring or anything like that. You know what I mean? This is there's a little bit of challenge, but it's not overly difficult. I just still like feeling like a god when I go in there, and I love maxing out that. How do you like the skill tree, by the way, Zach? Because I know you're usually not a big fan of it, but
I know this is a constantly contentious issue for me. I still don't love it. It's weird that like things like the double assassination are behind a skill tree, considering Naue was trained as an assassin. It is similar to why does Kratos have to learn how to dodge roll? He's the god of war. So it's got a little bit that energy that bugs me, but I like the way it's structured with the knowledge point system.
Yeah.
That gates you from the higher tier abilities, which sort of incentivizes you to explore the map. Because if people haven't played the game, you basically have to discover new areas and do specific things to get knowledge points, and those work to upgrade you through the skill tree. And then you use a different mastery points to actually unlock the things. But I do like that it incentivized me to like explore more, because I wanted I think it was like extra assassination damage was one of them that I wanted. So I made sure to upgrade my knowledge rank so I could get that.
Mm-hmm. I've been putting most of mine into health or upgrading my katana, because I just prefer the katana to the other 2 weapons that Nally has.
I am all in on the assassination trees, dude. It's very good. It's good. I don't know. Like, I really have very few complaints. The story's good. The gameplay's good. I think that the skill tree is more interesting than most because of the small tweaks. If there must be a skill tree in every game, at least this one is interesting.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I'm gonna have to play this game now. I'm gonna have to find something negative about it.
Man, yeah, it's like
what a fun way to live life. I will say that they're the only thing I could see being a problem is structural, in that the next, like, the part where I'm at in the game now is like 4 different assassinations that you can do in any order. So I could see how maybe that'll be repetitive as you do like 12 of those through the course of the game. So there might be a structural concern, because unfortunately, like, compared to, like, say, especially like the first Assassin's Creed, but like the actual targets so far have not been very interesting.
Oh, really?
I haven't found them to be. Did you?
You mean the characters themselves, or the way to take them out?
I was saying the characters themselves, like they're like the stories. Yeah. Because it could almost be like an episodic format where you're taking on these people one by one, but like, I was looking forward to finding the lady with the rifle from the intro, to talk vaguely, and then when I found her, it was just so disappointing and straightforward that I was left a little disappointed.
So if we're talking artistically, it's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever seen it or not, but in the Kill Bill movies, whenever someone's like the main person she's going to kill, like there's this whole like romantic vibe of like, I remember you from this and this, that, and other. Like they play up. Yeah. And it doesn't have that. Is that what you're saying? Like it doesn't give you that.
Which is funny, because the villains are actually introduced in a very Kill Bill way. Like definitely calling to mind Tarantino. So like maybe that's why I'm in this mindset. Like I was like excited to learn more about them, but then it's just it's really just not.
Definitely
not
no
so far.
Siren though.
Yeah. Yes, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I just recently rewatched part 1 of Kill Bill, so like very fresh in my mind.
Right. I would expected it to be that though. Like I would want for the character that I'm supposed to be getting rid of to have some type of like, character world weight. Like I want them to be a part of the setting. So I'm like, okay, this makes sense for me to do it, instead of kill the guy with the, the icon over his head. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like so the methods are kind of cool, the way you have to go about it. It's just, I wish the characters were more interesting. And it could just be maybe because those were the intro, assassinations. Basically, they're keeping it a little simpler. So I don't want to claim anything before it happens, but that's the only thing I can see.
I think part of it also is the way that you're introduced to those characters at the very beginning. They're all kind of faceless because they're all wearing masks when things go down, right? So they've all got that, like, each has their specific mask. That's all you really know, or maybe the weapon that they're using. So you don't really have a connection to them other than revenge.
That's
what I
true.
mean?
Yeah,
they're going through, and he's like, "Oh, there's not a lot of character detail," and I just keep thinking of like Monty Python and the Holy Grail. He's like, "There's some that call me Tim." Like, great, that's a lot of character creation there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, appreciate it. Yeah,
but like Ezio is all about revenge as well for most of Assassin's Creed 2, but you learned about those characters before you killed them.
Well, that was the whole thing, right? Is you had to investigate and learn about them and learn where they were going to be. So you kind of got a little bit background information. So you're saying you're missing that here.
Yeah, or like, they would always have those conversations where they would maybe explain why they did what they did, when you were killing them. And here it's just more straightforward.
Well, I mentioned this last week too. Do you remember like when you take out these people, they do the flash, and it looks like you're going to have that like
it's
before
a
they die
tease.
Conversation, and I was like, and they don't do it. I was like, guys.
Yeah, I love the memory corridors. I don't care. They never, like, they make no sense. You know, like in a Brotherhood, I just killed a guy with a crossbow from like a rooftop, and he was on a boat, and then all of a sudden there's a cutscene. He's just holding him in his hands.
Yeah. Who cares?
It's really
It's
funny,
still
but
cool.
who cares? Who cares? It's the rule of cool. Absolutely, it's the same reason Godzilla can stand up in the ocean. It's cool.
You know what? I was thinking about that one. I really was thinking about that a couple of days ago. I was like, how is he standing? What is he standing on?
It's the rule of cool, Cooper.
Yeah, it's still
Cool.
He's like an avid swimmer. He's not even floating. Like he's just like stable. That's a good point.
Yeah, he's buoyant.
All right, dude. I am so glad.
He's got buoyant thighs. Yeah, dude, it's great, man. I can't wait to.
He's like under the water, like doggy paddling, like constantly like drowning
with those tiny little arms.
Yeah, just those arms. And when he hits destroy, then he comes out all cool.
I'm sure CB is listening to this and he's got some explanation because he's a big Godzilla guy. We're gonna hear about it next week.
Oh, definitely.
But it's very nice for me personally to be so excited about a new Assassin's Creed because I used to worship this series, but you know, it's been a while since I've felt this way about one.
Awesome. Can't wait to hear what adjectives you use to describe this one.
Oh boy. That'll be interesting.
Yeah. All right.
Furiously fantastic.
Furiously fantastic. Jake, what about you, man? What have you been catching up on?
Honestly, there's not a lot that I've been doing personally, but me and my wife got sick of playing the Division 2 again, which makes sense because we got to that point where we were just grinding for exotics, and it's like, well, what do we do now? So we stopped playing it, and I convinced her to pick up Helldivers 2 for me.
Nice.
So we have been diving together and running through bugs and monsters and all this gross stuff, and she's just there's some panicky moments with her. At one point she's like, I don't feel safe. Like, we're alone, but I don't feel safe. And I'm like, good. That's you shouldn't. Like, you shouldn't feel safe. Like, that's the whole point of this game is dangers lurks around every corner. But it's been a lot of fun. She's learning how to, finally get the stratagems down right. So like we'll start getting into a big fight and she'll pull out her little stratagem and then like up, left, right, left, right. No, but it's all good. And then she'll throw it in like the completely wrong spot. But she's not, I don't know, gamer sense maybe, but game's a lot of fun, and it does change the dynamic when having multiple players on there because I only ever played with myself, and I find myself being the same amount of reckless that I was before, but now I'm killing her. Like I'm dropping bombs and murdering my wife in game. So yeah. And there she is.
I'm kind of thrown right now because I just went to like take a glimpse at Helldivers 2 just to, refresh my memory that wasn't there already. But like I wanted to see what it was about. I've just watched the trailer and it gave me like hard what is the movie? Starship Troopers.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They even did like the 1980s, like, we in. Like it was crazy. Like, so does it add that same type of humor to the game, or was that just like okay, yeah.
In every, it's very, I want to say fascist, but it's very patriotic. And if you're not patriotic enough, they send you to camps
for democracy.
So yeah, it's got a lot of that kind of built-in humor in the game.
So they need like a Master Chief looking Uncle Sam going like, we want you to shoot something. Like it's
they have a guy like that. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but they like in their lore or whatever, they say that he is built out of like bulletproof stuff. Like he is built out of shielding or whatever, because he's like flipped a tank and gotten shot at a bunch of times. Yeah, it's nuts. But they have a character out there that's like supposed to be the brutish, like kill everything kind of guy. Yeah.
Military Mr. T.
Yes. Yes. Very much so.
Sounds about right. Wow. I'm gonna have to check that out.
I got to mention a game that I played this week again. I talked about Breakout Beyond last week, which is like a remake of the Atari classic, but instead of it being up and down, it's left and right.
Dude, at least it's not Balatro.
Hey, I'll talk about that. I did play some Balatro, but I wasn't going to bring it up. You brought it up this time, man. No, but I took my Xbox up to Kevin's house this weekend, or not this weekend, but the week before. And we decided to try the co-op because this game's got co-op on it. And guys, I kind of dogged on that game a little bit that last time. This game is a blast playing with a person, especially if you had, a couple beverages with you and everything. That game is a blast, and it gets nuts. It gets so crazy. There's so much based on luck on that and just explosions happening on the screen. It feels awesome. Some of the later levels, they actually designed the levels to look like famous characters from classic Atari games. I don't know if you guys remember the game Adventure.
Yeah.
The dragons and that thing that look like ducks. They had a whole level like that. The bricks were that design of that dragon, which was really cool. They had one that was Yar's Revenge. It looked like the barrier from Yar's Revenge, and oh man. So the 80s kid in me was geeking out about it, and it was a lot of fun. So I recommend that game to play with a friend because it is super, super difficult. It's still hard, but having a second person definitely makes it more manageable. And just we laughed so hard at playing a simple little brick game, and it's pretty great. So that's all I will say about that. Anyway, that took us a while to get to the games we've been catching up on. What say we go ahead and jump into the week's news? Shout out to our news team. That is Mark Szymanski, Paul, and Sean. They are killing it over on thegamingoutsider.com. You can read some of those stories. Some games that they covered this week: Syntopia on PC, Reyev, Kingdom of the Distant Shores on PC. That's not coming out until 2026. There is a game based on the movie Terrifier. It's called Terrifier, the arcade game, coming to Xbox Series S and X, PS5, Switch, and PC. Shogun Showdown coming to Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC, and then an update to Starship Troopers Extermination. Patch 1.3 is available now, and 1.4 is coming later, so you can read about those. Also, Nintendo had a direct this past week. We're about a week behind. We have the recording of this episode at very poorly timed. That came out like the day after we recorded last week, and this is the night before we get all the details about the Switch 2, but lots of things happened about the Switch 1. And then lastly, some big changes going on at Ubisoft in terms of organization, and we will definitely be talking about that. But Cooper, you're our guest, man. Which story do you want to talk about?
The first one that I looked at was Rave, the Kingdom of Distant Shores. Like, it looks amazing. I'm a sucker for the artwork, and I'm not even a PC guy, but like I might actually jump in just so I can be immersed in this world because it looks really good.
All right. Yeah, I got to go back and look at it. It does look good. It's going to be a PC game, and my only way to play PC games are on my Steam Deck, so that's always going to be a big question mark for me. Is it something that I can play on my Steam Deck or not? Because that's all I got. I'm a Mac guy, so unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. So, let's see, Zach, what story would you like to talk about, sir?
I mean, let's get into the direct.
All right.
Plenty of cool games there. First of all, I cannot believe Atlas is remastering Raidu, The Mystery of the Soulless Army. This is like an obscure PS2 JRPG.
That's super obscure.
Dude, I barely even remembered the game. It was so obscure. Yeah, I mean, that's cool. It's nice to see more and more games get, preserved and saved. And
I've heard of it.
Exactly. And Atlas is bigger than ever right now. On the coming off of Metaphor, so this is a perfect time to get their back catalog out there.
Yeah, use those IPs, man, because once they're gone and somebody else messes it up, they're gonna feel really upset about it. Like, man, we could have did that, which is a lot now.
Dude, I mean, and these PS2 games that had such a low print run, they're not cheap to track down. So it's nice to make these more playable for people.
For sure.
It sure just does seem like a lot of remake stuff at the beginning of this direct, though, right? Like, I'm not like necessarily knocking it, but like, this is your swan song direct for the old platform, and we just got a bunch of remastered stuff. I don't know.
They're trying to play it safe.
Probably. They're saving all the good stuff for tomorrow, right?
There's nothing safe about Pac-Man eating everybody. Waka Waka, Labyrinth. Man, I think that game is so good.
You onto something, because think about that game for a little bit. Like, I mean, they're already ghosts, and he's like, "Nah, I'm not done." Like,
that's a really good point.
Like, man, they're already dead, man. He's like, "Nah, wait a minute." Like,
that's soul is mine.
That's crazy. You know what? That's the crazy theory crossover. Like, what if Shang Tsung is actually Pac-Man, and then he's just been around,
Oh my god,
just messing the whole world up.
Fight waka
incognito.
waka.
Finish him.
Waka.
That's it. We're gonna have Pac-Man in the next Mortal Kombat update. He has a playable character.
He needs to be another ninja. I think that would be crazy, like a gold ninja named Pac. I'm with it.
Just
Boom, get on it. I need it.
Reskin Scorpion.
There was a lot of stuff to take notice of. The big one for me, obviously, was Metroid Prime 4. Although we've seen some gameplay of it, they actually got a little bit more in depth this time. Looks like there's some. Are they calling them psychic powers that Samus has now? Like,
yeah, I think that's what they're calling them. Yeah.
Where I mean, I guess you use them to open the doors, which is cool. I just want to see. I feel like they're holding back on showing everything on this game. Like they had to show something for this Direct, but they're going to show another one on the Switch 2 Direct because that stuff didn't seem as interesting. I feel like it would have made more sense back when you had a Wii controller and you needed something to do with the Wii remote, but that stuff didn't overly excite me. It just been like, okay, I can use psychic powers to open a door.
Well, I mean, you'll play it, right?
I mean,
no matter what.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
The question is am I going to play it on Switch or am I going to play it on Switch 2? Because there's a lot of question marks right there.
I guess it depends on what sales pitch they deliver to you tomorrow.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
that's true.
There's no way I'm not getting a Switch 2.
Right.
And if I'm going to play it, I'd rather play it on the better hardware. But is this going to be a situation where? Because remember, like back in the Wii U and Wii days, where like it was released on one console and then another version was on there, or is this going to be where I can use the same cartridge in both of them and I get a better version of it on the Switch? I don't know how that's going to work.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, that's what they did with even Breath of the Wild, right? That's a Wii U game.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they use one as a tester, and then they're like, "Oh, okay, this tested pretty well. Let's go ahead and restock that one."
Yeah, Metroid Prime 4 on Switch and Switch 2. But Nintendo, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to give you the freebie, but we'll see.
No, never.
Freebie upgrade doesn't sound likely.
No,
they're unpredictable though. I have no idea.
Anything else on the list excites you guys? Jake, how about you? Anything on here? I don't even know if you have a Switch. Do you have a Switch?
I do have a Switch.
Okay.
Anyway, actually, Patapon. That was a game that I played on the PSP way back in the day, and so it coming to another handheld console is going to be awesome. Play that little beat making game while I'm saving up some meat to make more people. Let's go.
I gotta try that game again. I think I got it on PlayStation when it was on sale, and I just did not understand what was going on. And I'm a rhythm guy. You'd think that would be.
Yeah. You just gotta keep to the beat.
Oh yeah. So you make beats and then they give you people meat.
So the way the Patapon plays is you have a little village of people, and then you have to go out hunting. But the only way that you can hunt is by using, like, you have drums in the game, and then you make beats, and certain beats make them move, make them defend, make them attack, all that kind of stuff. So the entire game, you don't actually move any of the stuff. The whole game is rhythm based, and then whatever creatures that you beat in the level, you get materials from them, you bring them back to your village, and then you can make more people, you can arm your people better and go out and do different things.
Think Parappa the Rapper, but with a little bit more stuff going on.
See, I was thinking like Weekend at Bernie's plus Parappa the Rapper, and then like a little bit of Monster Hunter. So I'm like, what is this monstrosity of a game? I want to play it now, like just off the top.
It could be a little bit of Monster Hunter. I don't know how much of Monster Hunter, but there's definitely dragons and stuff in there that you have to fight, and equipping your little characters with swords and bows and armor and stuff. So
and you like
it's a fun little game.
Violence.
Yeah.
Pata-pong. I was gonna say it's very catchy. Okay. I will give it that. Pata. Yeah. It's good stuff.
Especially when you get the god drum. Don do don do don. Yeah, it hits. Let's go.
I need that in my life. I got to get that.
I don't really care about Patapon, but I am fascinated that PlayStation has 2 games on here coming to the Nintendo Switch. and I feel like people are not making an appropriately big enough deal about that.
Yo,
Because obviously we got Lego Horizon earlier, but I mean Patapon, that's a PlayStation property, as is Hot Shots Golf.
Mm-hmm.
that's
Although that one
powerful-
is not made by Clap Hands, right?
Right?
Which
Yeah,
is
they
the ones that
probably
made the
ways
others.
PlayStation.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, that's this feels like they obviously saw some kind of profitability or some kind of intrigue with Lego Horizon,
Mm-hmm.
So I think,
And isn't it interesting that they're making a
we
Hot Shots
might,
Golf?
I'll say we might not be too far away from the Uncharted Nathan Drake collection on the Switch 2. Like
Yeah.
that feels possible now.
Doesn't it seem weird too that they would do a Hot Shots game before doing another Mario Golf game? Because that series is insanely popular. I mean, they kind of whiffed on the last one where it was like Speed Golf or whatever. But
Oh yeah,
remember how
Well,
good those
they're-
Mario Golf games were?
they were really good.
Sure, but that's unrelated to Hot Shots Golf. Nintendo doesn't. They
No, I
going to
know.
not allow a golf game on their system.
I guess.
Yeah.
What else here? The Gradius Origins collection. I love the Gradius games back when I was a kid. I probably won't pick it up, but I like that it exists.
Back in my day.
You just looked at him and was like, neat, and kept moving.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's
I'll get it when it's
cool.
$5 on sale at Black Friday or something like that. But
That's fair.
Yeah.
I did think a Disney Villains Curse Cafe was a shameless ripoff of an indie game. Like that's just coffee talk with Disney villains. Dude, it's unbelievable. I was like,
I won't unsee it now. That's real.
Dude, I can't believe it. Disney really need a ripoff coffee talk. I mean, come on. I don't know.
They want the money though. They're gonna own everything. Did you see like that theory list of like Disney like taking over everything, and then it's gonna be like the Disney Wars, where like people are wanting to run to Mars. Like it really took it there. Like it was crazy. Like it was definitely wild. But yeah, their IP game is nasty. Like I don't want any parts of competing with Disney when it comes to that, because they're gonna be like, oh, how much is that? Yeah, we need another one of those.
We'll just buy you.
I want somebody to explain this to me because I'm not understanding the virtual game card thing. So this is supposed to be where, like, if you buy a game digitally, you're supposed to be able to share it with a friend, and they can play that game for like 2 weeks. Like I don't know, almost as like a demo or something like that. But you got to be like, is it within the family, or I could not wrap my head around how this worked. Zach, did you get it?
Yeah. I felt like they explained it fairly well. It's just like handing. That's why they named it a virtual game card. I thought was to make it easier, but I guess not easy enough for you. But you can you can lend it to your people like you would hand Jake your copy of Mario Odyssey. You can instead, if you bought it digitally, you can just put your Switch next to his and just give him your copy for 2 weeks or whatever.
But I already have a
and then
copy of
returns
Mario
you.
Odyssey.
Yeah,
Jesus
there's someone in the
Christ.
comments explaining how it works, and it makes sense.
Yeah, Paul says it only works with your family plan first off. So like you have to be in a family, like, which we have a family plan going like here with with the GoCast, so we're fine. And then Paul goes on to say that you have to be local to share it, but both need to be hooked up to the internet.
You know what it sounds like to me? Like, do you want Netflix for gaming? Because that's how you get Netflix for gaming. Like that's what it seems
You
like.
had Netflix for gaming.
Like, but
Yeah,
I mean,
Game Pass.
just with Game Pass for sure. But like, I feel like they're trying to bring it to the forefront again, and I don't think it's gonna go too well. They're gonna get upset. Like,
I mean,
like you know what bought this game?
To me, it sounds like them giving you more ownership over your digital games, which is a good thing. Like if you're not playing Tears of the Kingdom, and you want Jake to play it, and if he tells me he already owns it, I'm going to lose it. This is just an analogy, but you could just lend him your copy like you would a physical game, and you can't play it for 2 weeks or whatever, but your friend gets to, and then he gets to save his progress, and you could lend it to him again if you wanted to, and that way
it's like blockchaining, because you said you can't play it, so like that means that if he has the virtual card for it, then
right. So it's just like you view it as though it is a physical game,
right? That only works for 2 weeks.
Sure, but you would return a game to a friend, no?
Well,
all the games that
maybe.
I've given to friends, I've never gotten back.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, well, fair enough. But this ensures you actually do get it back. unlike Mike in my parenting class in high school, who still has my copy of Assassin's Creed. Unlike that, you actually do get it back.
Yeah, screw you, Mike.
So,
no,
yeah.
not really. Mike's cool
Mike,
guy.
no, Mike is cool. However, I want that original copy back. But
Zack wants that back, bro. Go ahead and run that.
If you're listening. But Scott, if he doesn't beat in 2 weeks or whatever, you just lend it to him again, right?
Oh, that's how it works. You can just you can give him another 2 weeks. It's not like it's a one-time thing. Oh, okay. I was under the impression it was like you can loan it to him for 2 weeks and then
that's it. Yeah,
I didn't know you could do it again.
They want you to try to think of it as though it's like a game cartridge in your hand, which is why I would not be able to borrow it, even though we're in a family plan, because we're not local. You couldn't just hand me your copy of Luigi's Mansion.
But
there's a theory about it in the comments. I think the theory makes sense.
Yeah, Paul Hines says that his theory is that it paves the way for digital-owned games to be transferred to the Switch too easily. And he goes on to say, but you need to see them in person. Might as well use a link cable.
Let's go back to CDs. Just go back to CDs. Yeah, like if you got to do all of that, like, you know what? Just pass me the cartridge, bro. Like I don't know, man. Yeah. Currently
with digital games, you don't get to do anything. So the fact that somebody's trying sounds like a good thing to me.
I agree.
I feel like I refuse to be cynical on this.
So Scott, you're just gonna have to mail your Switch to Zach.
Yeah,
and then Zach can do what he needs to do, and then mail it back.
And then it takes like 5 days to get back to my house. I'm already down 5 days out of my 2 weeks.
Oh my god, that's so futuristic.
Well, the loaner is gonna have to be the one to send the Switch for sure.
Yeah,
right. Wow.
It'd probably just be cheaper to just buy you a copy of whatever it is. It'd probably just be simpler.
Give me the CD.
Spoof your internet source. Like just use it.
There you go.
Use a VPN. Is that what it's called? So I look like I'm in Oregon, but
we're both in Hungary. That'd be fine.
That's wild.
Oh, that's a lot of work. I don't think that's gonna happen, but there's a lot of stuff going on here. But I have to imagine that Marvel Cosmic Invasion stood out to you guys as well too. I think this looks super fun. This is the brawler with Marvel characters. It really reminded me a lot of the old X-Men arcade game, even though this is like Shredder's Revenge. But I got a lot of vibes from that game. Remember that arcade one? I think you do like 6 people at a time in that game.
I remember the Simpsons version of that. Like, there's a lot of games that came out in that era. Yeah, if it's like that, then I'm with it.
A Marge with a vacuum just beating people to death. It's awesome.
Art with the skateboard, man.
Yeah, Bart with the skateboard, absolutely. Yeah.
What did Homer have? I don't even remember.
Himself. Like, he was just like
he is the weapon.
Yeah, it was wild. And then they could do combos. Like, because I remember Bart and Lisa would just like run with their hands together and just scream and just run through people. It was great.
Yeah, I remember that.
They were ice climbers.
No, yeah, that's real
though. Backing up just a little bit on the list, Dragon Quest 1 and 2 remake coming to Switch as well too, which is really cool because I was talking about, like, I'm going through the Final Fantasy games this year, right? And I've always wanted to do are Dragon Quest and Dragon Warrior the same thing?
Yes.
Okay. So again, that could be my way to get into that, as opposed to playing on the old school way.
They just thought Americans didn't want to go on a quest; they wanted to be warriors.
Wait, is Dragon Quest connected to the Chrono games, like Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross? Or am I reading that wrong?
Not to my knowledge.
I don't think these are the same game.
They're only connected in that one. They share like one guy, but no, there's no real connection.
Oh, okay, got you. Because I was wondering that. Like, I figured there'd be some type of like big connection.
Yeah. Dragon Warrior is the game that I played as a kid that I couldn't figure out what I was doing, and I thought it was a terrible game.
Everybody.
I went back like 10 years later and was like, "Oh, that's a door."
What?
He couldn't figure out doors. What? Right? He had to grow up to learn what a door was.
Doors are hard for kids.
Oh, that's a door? Enlightenment.
Right.
The last thing, the last big thing that stood up on me, and I'll let you guys, pitch anything else you want to talk about as well. But the Nintendo Today app that actually is available now. News starts tomorrow as of this recording. So like you can get all your Nintendo news from a Nintendo app now. And they promptly dropped some big news right away, which was the announcement of the Zelda movie release date, which I've neglected to write down. I want to say it was April 26th. Is that right? Of 2026?
I don't know. I haven't gotten a phone call.
I'll
from
look it up
Sony
real quick.
Yeah. I want to say it's
I don't know
April in 2026, but I could be totally wrong. I know that the Mario one is coming out in March. So if they had the Zelda one like right afterwards, man, that's a bold move.
They're crushing. Yeah.
It says 2027.
2027. I'm sorry. So it would not be the same month in the same year.
I kind of want to see him do it. Like, I mean,
March-
and then March what?
It says it's suspected March 26, 2027.
Okay,
There's no
so I had it
suspected,
totally
that
wrong.
yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I want them
but
to crush it, though. That'd be sick.
I think so too, dude. I think it's got potential. I'm not opposed to the live action direction either.
Yeah, I feel like they could do really well with it. Like a lot of the Middle Earth movies that we've seen, or even if they go like the full cartoon route, they could actually pull that one off. Like, I think that was
the only problem. This is the same producer that brought us hits like the Venom trilogy and Kraven the Hunter. So let's hope he's having an off day. It makes a really good movie by accident.
Man, yeah, that killed my soul a little bit.
Wow. Now, in his defense, he was also the producer for Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy, which were obviously great. But that was a long
Sam
time
Raimi
ago.
had back pain from carrying that one. Like,
no doubt.
I don't know if the understudy could do it for us. I don't know.
Fingers crossed.
Anything else that you guys want to mention about the direct before we move on?
I just want the Zelda movie just to be a speedrun like terminal montage, and you just watch Zelda like wake up and like fly across the map, kill Ganon, and just leave.
I would like to see him go like full crank. Like think of like Majora's Mask, where like he only has so much time and the movie's in real time. So like you have 1 hour to do all of this. I think that would be dope. Yeah, I'd watch it. I think that'd be a good one.
I want to see Link get treated like Guts from Berserk. Just have the worst life.
Yo, I'm there for a rated R Zelda movie. Like,
let's do it.
That'd be crazy.
Give him a real incentive to kill Ganondorf for once, you know?
Yeah, he just destroyed all of his people. Like, just
oh no,
man, that would be great. And then he's like, you know what? It's whatever. I'm running it.
Yeah,
I like it. I need that.
Right.
We did have a request from Paul from my news team. He wanted us each to give one quick prediction for tomorrow's announcement. Because by the time everybody hears this that's not watching this live, the Nintendo Switch 2 news is going to be out. But he wants us to each make one prediction about the Switch 2. And I'm going to go ahead and start and say Mario Paint is a launch title for the Switch 2. Either the the old one or a new version of Mario Paint, because the Joy-Cons are supposed to work like mice or a mouse. So Mario Paint's going to be announced tomorrow morning. What do you guys? How about you, Jake?
Oh, I have no idea.
All right, Zach.
I feel like
you're not gonna let the man come up with a fake guess, or all right. We will finally get the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD remaster port that we want, but it will only be on the Switch 2.
I can see that. I like it.
That makes sense.
Cooper?
You know what? I'm going to jump out the window and I'm going to think a little more aesthetically. I think they're going to put out a clear one.
Oh,
like,
cool.
Dude, like the purpley clear one. Like I think that
like
I would buy it just to have it if they did that.
Yeah.
If they did that one, yeah. So I know it's like far-fetched, but if they did that, chef's kiss.
All right.
Chef's kiss.
Jay, did you come up with one?
No.
Okay.
The Joy-Cons are going to be magnetic.
Well,
oh my god.
What a shocker.
Whoa.
That is bold.
I bet they're going to call it the Switch 2 and not the Super Switch.
Yeah. And it's going to be dude.
They missed an opportunity. Dude, okay, so I hope that one of the I don't know when it's going to come out, but like I hope one is like classically colored. I hope one is colored like the NES.
Oh, okay, like the gray and the black, red buttons,
the red stripes. Oh, that'd be beautiful.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
Hit the nostalgia.
Yeah. Good.
They're gonna do a full big budget remake of Jet Force Gemini coming at you on the Switch 2.
All right, last news story we're going to talk about really quick is going to be this Ubisoft deal. This is interesting, and I actually heard about this from Zack first. But Ubisoft created a new subsidiary to focus solely on 3 of its franchises. Those 3 franchises being Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six. Tencent is investing $1.25 billion to have a minority stake in the new subsidiary. It's around 25%. And then Ubisoft is refocusing the division, Ghost Recon, and a new IP that we don't know about yet. There is no word yet on what this means for potential layoffs, but we kind of, unfortunately, just kind of assume that something like that's going to happen. And here's the official statement from Ubisoft. Quote, "This new subsidiary will focus on building game ecosystems designed to become truly evergreen and multi-platform. Backed by greater investment and boosted creative capacities, it will drive further increases in quality of narrative solo experiences, expand multiplayer offerings with increased frequency of content release, introduce free-to-play touchpoints, and integrate more social features." Unquote. I don't know how to interpret this, but this just feels like, I know Ubisoft has been in a lot of trouble. They've had a lot of negative press. There's been a lot of questions about if somebody's going to buy them. I think we all kind of had a collective groan when that wound up being Tencent, unfortunately. But just what an odd approach. Like if you're working for one of these non-Assassin's Creed, non-Far Cry, non-Rainbow Six teams, do you just feel like super slighted right now?
Yeah,
I'd
be upset.
I would be looking around and seeing how likely it is that I'm getting laid off compared to the guy next to me, because they're happening if you work at those studios.
And it's happening at studios all around the world. Like whatever studios were working on these games are staying there, but now they're owned by the subsidiary that's going to be owned by Tencent.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a minority process, but the subsidiary is also getting the rights to Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six. For Ubisoft, then is going to get some royalties from it for every game that they sell. So it sounds like they're dumping off these 3 titles, these 3 franchises onto this other one, and then they're just going to take a little kickback every so often and hope it becomes something. Like they don't want to deal with those titles anymore.
I'm so sad because I know I'm not gonna get the Prince of Persia that I know they could have made. I was just waiting on it. I'm one of them fan people. Like, yo, if y'all could just take us back to the good old days.
I mean, you're preaching the choir to me, man.
Man, like once I saw that sale, I was like, yeah, we're not getting that. That's
and I mean, no mention of Splinter Cell either. Like, what's up with that property?
Right, like it.
What did the link? There was a quote in there that is weird in that story.
Well,
hold on just a second.
All right. Well, I can't hold on. We're on the air.
I know.
But yeah, Splinter Cell remake.
Ubisoft.
Oh my god.
Ubisoft said it also includes any new games in those places under development currently or that are made in the future, along with all back catalog titles for those teams. So any teams that are going to be under this new subsidiary are also, those places are going to also have everything else that those teams worked on.
Yeah, we got a comment about that as well. Because man, like I hope it doesn't do that.
Yeah, Sean Coates says that statement tells me they're going to go the live service route, which I know gets us all super excited, right?
Oh yeah,
but I mean, haven't they already? And our
they've been dipping a toe for sure.
Yeah, Division is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess Assassin's Creed isn't. I guess right. They have a lot of live service elements in Shadows.
Now you know what? Like if we're playing devil's advocate, what if they did go live with Assassin's Creed?
Did they try that with Unity?
Yeah,
they did, but I figure like now if they have like the infrastructure, because I mean they got Fortnite over there, so like it's not like they don't have the infrastructure now.
What's that going to look like though? Like just a bunch of assassins versus Templars? Like that doesn't sound fun. It doesn't sound in the spirit of Assassin's Creed.
I feel like
Steven has a bounty.
No, I really feel like if it was done tastefully, it might actually go way further. Simply because it's not so spray and pray. You really have to have tactics at this point. Like the one thing that set out when Zach was explaining shadows was putting lights out. Like that's such a small nuanced thing, but if you really think about how that works, like that's a beautiful thing to be able to do. If you had like a team, like, yo, put the lights out over there, make sure you throw the smoke bomb over here. Like, you know what I mean? It's the same way that when, you know, Call of Duty was running around where you had people who really made their routes. I think that would be kind of crazy if you had the assassin version of it.
You know what I think would make that cool too is if you had like an overseer role attached to that, where you've got somebody that can see the map and can see like icons for your team and the other team and be like, dude, you got to go over there and take out, you know,
like a
Bravo
sniper
team.
like
Yeah,
I think that would be awesome. Like I mean, you know, there's a lot of cooking to go on that. There's a lot more spices that it need, but I think that it's fairly possible. But again, we're dealing with people who don't like to take, you know, creative risk. So I don't know.
Right.
But
yeah,
I think I would buy it. Like, you know, Assassin's Raid or something. Like I think that would be dope.
I like the idea. I just don't like it in Assassin's Creed.
See, I feel like some of these ideas that they're bringing back, like the you know, putting out the lights and stuff, that's all been done before. And I'm not saying that, you know, it's a copy or whatever. I'm saying that like in any stealth gameplay, it should be a normal thing. Like this should be, you know, used in everything. And for some reason, it feels like a lot of titles nowadays want to reinvent the wheel. They want to go backwards rather than continuing on with the progression that we already have.
That's true.
And I don't know. It feels, I'm glad we're going back to it, but I mean, Splinter Cell did it first.
Yeah,
no lie, for sure.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on. I got one other quick announcement before we go and talk about the games we've been playing. Some quick R2V2 news. We have officially booked our venue. I think we mentioned that last week. Planning for R2V2 2025 is underway. You can look forward to seeing news about shirts, bags, tickets in the following weeks. And speaking of tickets, our Eventbrite page is nearly completed and should be up and running in a day or two. Early bird tickets will go on sale immediately, so stay tuned for that. We will definitely get links to you guys. We hope to see everybody at R2V2 2025. We have already lined up some musical guests, and we have the potential for another special guest. I'm not going to say who it is just in case it falls through, but stay tuned to our social media outlets for news and updates on R2V2. With that, let's go ahead and jump now into the new games we've been playing. Zach, tell us what's coming out that people can purchase in the next week or so.
Sure thing. We got a little crafting game, My Little Universe, comes to PS5, PS4, and Xbox Series consoles April 4th. South of Midnight, the new first-party Xbox action game coming to Xbox Series consoles and PC April 8th. Locomoto makes its way to PC April 8th. You can be little furry guys building some trains. Burden of Command is a game that's been in development for like 7 or 8 years, looking to take a harrowing look at war. That comes to PC on April 8th. Commandos Origin is the newest entry in the long-running Commandos franchise. That comes to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, and PC April 9th. Blueprints makes its way to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC April 10th. The Talos Principle Reawaken, which is a remaster of the game from like 10 years ago. Needs a remaster already. Coming to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC April 10th. We got Steel Seed, a little stealth sci-fi game coming to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC April 10th. Promise Mascot Agency is an utterly bizarre-looking game where you
Yes, it is.
play characters driving around Japanese mascots. That's coming to all consoles April 10th. And then Pilo and the Hollow Book, which is a adorable looking game, coming to all consoles April 10th. Scott, what about you from this list? Which one are you looking forward to playing?
South of Midnight. I cannot wait for that game. I'm so intrigued by what that is, and I can't wait. It just looks like the voice acting and everything is just stellar in that game. It's a setting that we've never seen before. At least I don't remember seeing one. Maybe since Bayou Billy is the only one I can think of that took place in the
Hunt Showdown.
Hunt Showdown. Yeah, I didn't play that a ton. True. I know you love that game, but So yeah, South of Midnight gets my pick.
All right, what about you, Jake?
Locomoto looks fun. It reminds me of Animal Crossing with trains.
It just kind of have that energy going on. Yeah, because you're like serving passengers and stuff. Yeah, it's I don't know. Interesting experience.
I'm a chores guy.
Oh, there you go.
Would your wife agree with that assessment?
No,
she would not.
No, not once. Never.
All right, just checking in. What about you, Cooper? What came on this list looks exciting? Or most exciting, rather.
South of Midnight looks good, but you know what? When we got down to it, and I saw the mascot one, Promise Mascot, I kind of want to play it, just because it's just so different, so kooky. Like it gives me just from hearing about it, it gives me Crazy Taxi vibes. Just like
definitely some Crazy Taxi energy.
I kind of want to do that, but yeah, that would be my pick.
All right, well, Zach, thanks for the rundown.
Sure, I was saying with Scott, South of Midnight. I don't know why I guess you didn't want my.
No,
you didn't want mine. It's fine.
At least it wasn't me.
I see where I stand. South of Midnight looks great.
All right, I thought you were agreeing with me. I apologize.
Excited for that one for it feels like a long time now, but anyway.
Yeah, the problem is that just there's so much I want to play right now, and then another one on top of that, and then what's the other one that comes out the week after? The 33 Expedition 33.
Claire, that's April 24th, but Expedition 33. Claire Obscure Expedition 33. That looks phenomenal. Yeah,
it looks. And I hear nothing but awesome things about that one. So it's just going to be a rough month for me.
I have the best blessing / curse on South of Midnight, in that my wife wants me to play it with her. There's a blessing, which means I might be able to squeeze in some more hours, but a curse because it might mean it goes slower.
Right. You got to. You can't play it without her watching.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think she wants to try this one because she's really into witchcraft.
Gotcha.
So
that would be good.
Yeah, this should be cool.
All right.
I don't know. Game looks phenomenal.
Sorry for cutting you off earlier, Zach. Thank you.
No, I just don't care. You don't care about me. That's fine.
No,
just tell me how it is.
No, it's not what it is at all. Here. Moving on to the games, the newer games we've been playing. Just one, and just as a reminder, everybody, all the games you hear about in this section, there are links for them in the show notes. If you'd like to check out the trailer and see what we're talking about, you can find those links there.
Yeah, but Scott, you've been playing. Speaking of Coffee Talk coming up earlier, you're playing Afterlove EP, which is the final game from the Coffee Talk creator, kind of. I guess it was a game he was working on when he died, and now it is finished. From people close to him.
I did not know that history behind it, man.
That's wild.
Yeah. So this is kind of his from the grave final game.
Wow. So that actually makes this game even more important for me. But to be
no
clear,
pressure, but I hope it's good.
Yeah, man.
To be clear, Alyssa is reviewing this game for us, but they threw another the PR rep. Double Jump Communications actually sent me another code so that I could check it out as well, and I started playing it. And I mean, traditionally, this is not my style of game. This is very much a visual novel, where it's mostly dialogue and picking dialogue choices and things like that. But man, it's not a game that is quote unquote fun to play. But I am interested in this story, and they do a narrative twist right at the beginning that really hooked me in, and I had a hard time putting it down last night. So the story is about this band. They're playing they're playing a show, and the lead guitarist and songwriter has a girlfriend that is watching the show, and unfortunately she passes away within like the first 10 minutes of this game. And I mean, it just shockingly, like it's just like out of nowhere, almost to the point where I was like, I haven't gotten attached to this character enough to really be impacted by that. I mean, obviously somebody dying, a main character dying that quick is going to affect you, but I didn't know her long enough. So at first I was kind of put off, like, well, that's very sad for this character, but I don't really no connection. But then they do something really cool. So the story goes that this band member basically goes into a state of depression for like a year. He abandons the band. He doesn't talk to anybody, but he wakes up a year later he wakes up in the middle of the night or whatever, and he pulls out his phone and he's talking to his dead girlfriend. Like he's hearing her voice in his head. So even though she's gone, she's still living within him and having conversations with him. And when he goes to have conversations with other characters, he does the thing where he accidentally has a conversation with her or responds to something she says, and they're like, dude, what are you talking about? And he has to kind of pull back and do this. So that is a really interesting narrative hook for me that made me go, I'm not usually into this kind of game, but I want to see where this goes. Because then like he meets up with the band and they're talking about getting back together, and you have these little story beats where he goes to the record store to listen to some new music to get a muse. He meets another girl at a poetry reading to try to get some inspiration on how to write some lyrics for his songs. I really like where it's going. And he's even like going to therapy. So he actually sits down with a therapist, and that's some of the dialogue that you're having. So it's really interesting what you're doing, but the majority of this game is just listening to the conversations, and choosing an occasional dialogue choice that doesn't really seem to affect the story too much. And then there is a very brief rhythm game tied to it as well, where, because he's in a band, it's super, super simple. Like it's all A, B, X, and Y, not really difficult beats to do, but it just gives you something to do to kind of shake things up.
Do you actually walk around at all, or is it strictly a visual novel?
You do walk around, and actually at first it's a little tedious because you don't even have a map. So you just kind of like guess you're going in the right direction because it's kind of two-dimensional, right? So I don't know if I'm going left or right. And then it opens up to other districts that you can go to kind of open up the map. But thankfully there's a fast travel, so you can actually go to a different district if you need to. And they give you pretty good clues as to where you're supposed to go. But and the really interesting thing that they do from an artistic style, Cooper, I know you watched the trailer and you were really intrigued by that. We'll get to that for a second. But the thing that they do to me that's really interesting that I think is really clever is there's only one voice in the game that is actually voice acted, and that is the voice of the dead girlfriend. So like everybody else just speaks in the word bubbles and everything, and you kind of tap through them. But when she speaks, it's actually voiced by this female character, which adds a really cool touch to it because that's the only real emotion you get outside of the typical Japanese animation looks that they have on their faces. Like when they're sad, their eyes just get covered in like lines to make it look like they're dark, or if they're exasperated, they've got like pieces of sweat flying off of them and everything. But you get real emotion from the girl, which is just really interesting to me, especially because she almost comes across as your inner voice, like trying to talk you into doing things or trying to talk you out of doing other things. Like she straight up tries to talk you out of going to therapy, but does it in a sweet way. Yeah. So
you're psychotic.
It's really interesting. And then he actually has a conversation about whether or not he should be telling his therapist that he's actually talking to his girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like it's really, man, it's really interesting in a narrative sense. And I might actually go through and finish this game just because I'm intrigued to see where it's going. I will say it's a little tedious. If you don't like narrative games, I'm not going to say that this is the one that's going to put you over the edge and get you into them. But the story in this one really has grabbed me, and I'm digging it.
Wow, I'm happy to hear it. Yeah.
I'm completely thrown. Like, okay, the part that threw me off so much was the fact of you're only hearing her voice, which in my head, like usually when you hear stories of or you see a movie where someone dies at the beginning, you only give like tidbits of them, so the audience really doesn't care too much per se. They're like, oh well, we remember them from the beginning, but this one they completely eliminated that, and like they put that as the main character pretty much, because like if we're hearing them, like that's insane. Like I already loved it from just like how it looked, just like the manga style, and then like how everything moved. It was like really seamless and just had like a smooth art style. But the storytelling part of that, I'm blown by that. Like that's wild.
And I'm glad you like the art style. I was a little thrown by it. It is that Japanese art style, like you're saying, but it seems purposely done a little bit cruder in style than like what I'm used to with Japanese animation. It almost looks like, I don't mean this to sound like it's bad, but almost like how a child would draw it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And it makes sense to the story because like it seems like we're playing the game in his head. So like, of course, everything is not going to be like polished and like finely tuned. It's going to be like ideas that are kind of rough, and some ideas are more colorful than others. So like that's the way that I took it. So now that you say that, like now it makes more sense. Like before that, I would agree with you. I'd have been like, yeah, how come this is not polished like how it usually is? But that, like, it makes perfect sense now.
I was kind of shocked at how much I was enjoying it. I'm like, man, I really, and I know this sounds crazy. I'm playing it on Xbox. It is also available on PlayStation, Switch, and PC. Part of me really wishes that this were on my phone so that I could just, because it's so much dialogue, and I could just read it on my phone and like have this be the thing I'm doing, before going to bed, instead of watching a movie or something.
I think you're right. Yeah. It reminds me of like BitLife once you say that, like, because at that point, like, especially, the kids that are playing games like this, like they get into the dialogue, they get into the narrative, and for it to be like a narrative heavy, like in interactive space, that would be beautiful if they just threw it mobile.
Yeah, I mean, I would be more prone to finish it more quickly, I think, because if I'm sitting at my console, I'm going to play Assassin's Creed. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's just the way it is. But yeah, really, really intrigued by the story, and like the conversations are, the way they're written are how a conversation would actually go. Like, and it's kind of refreshing to see some of the characters actually not be super kind to your character who lost someone very close to him a year ago, and they're kind of like, are we ready to move on? We got to get this band thing going. You know what I mean? Which sounds like a jerk move, but also at the same time, it doesn't seem candy coated. So I'm really appreciating that. So
it seems very human.
Yeah. After Love EP. Oh, the last thing I will say too is that even though you don't have that connection to the character from the beginning as much as you would like, you kind of still go through and discover that. So when the characters are talking, they're like reminiscing about, hey, remember that time this happened with her? And she's there hearing all of this. And then she throws in a little quip every once in a while, which kind of throws it off. So yeah, if you've ever wanted to try one of these.
But she's not there.
Well, that's kind of the question that's happening now.
Like, he's nuts. This kid's nuts.
Well, and that's the question he's asking himself is he crazy, or is he actually or is there something going on? Because he
normal people don't talk themselves out of therapy.
Well, he goes.
But your ghost girlfriend might. I don't know.
Right, exactly.
She wants more time.
Right. I'm really intrigued to see what happens, because it seems very clear that this new girl that he's talking to, like his buddies like set that meeting up because they wanted him to move on and find somebody else. And the old girlfriend hasn't responded to that whole thing at all yet. And I'm waiting to see what's going to happen. Does it get super dark? I would really love to see where that goes. So.
I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it early. I'm gonna go the M. Night route and say that he's the one who died, and we're just going through like his life flashing before him, and this is like, this is the nightmare fuel that happened, and then
I like it, man. I'll have to report back and let you know how that goes. So
for sure.
Again, that game is After Love EP. It's developed by Zack. You may have to help me with this one. Pixelnesia. Am I pronouncing that right?
Good as guess as any. It's something.
All right.
Yeah.
And it's published by Fellow Traveler Games. It's $19.99 on all those platforms. All right. Very quickly, before we move on to our topic, got a couple other reviews. I talked to Mark about some games he's been playing. We're going to play those for you guys right now. Thank you so much, Mark. As always, it's a pleasure talking to you. Before we move on, I'm saying that a lot today. Want to remind everybody about Facebook.com/groups/the GoCast. Got a community over there. Please join the community. Also, Discord. There's a link in the show notes of this episode. Also, do us a favor, drop us a review wherever you're listening to the show, especially Apple Podcasts. It helps us get the word out there. The more reviews we have, it makes us look more legitimate, and we can really use the help. And lastly, check out our website, thegamingoutsider.com. You'll find all of our written reviews, including Joel's review of Nova Game Expo and Mark's review of Karma, the Dark World, and as well as all of our news topics as well. Jake, did you have something to add?
So this is only going to work for our podcast listeners, but one of the games Mark is reviewing is Urban Jungle, and I was like, finally they remade that Predator game from the PS2, and I looked at it, I was like, oh, that's not what I wanted.
No, definitely not a Predator game.
Yeah, it was Predator Concrete Jungle.
Which is a cool game.
Yeah,
it was.
they need to really do that game justice. Like I need like the Predator game to look so amazing because that IP is just waiting for it. Like it needs to like go above and beyond.
Yeah.
And all we've gotten so far was a 4v1.
Yeah, that
multiplayer.
Proving grounds.
They could have
is
just
that what that's called?
Yeah.
they could have just
It was
added him to
solid.
Dead Before Dawn and just let it be that if that's what they were gonna do. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like nah, man, come on, give us something.
Dead by Daylight. No.
Yeah.
All right,
Like-
guys, it is time for us to talk about our From the Outside In topic. As we mentioned earlier, our guest has contributed his skills in art in video games, and it got us thinking about how just important art in games is to us when it comes to the favorite things that we've been doing. Art can take many forms, whether it be the visual design, writing, storytelling, level design. The list goes on and on and on. For the purposes of this discussion, we're going to focus on the visual representation and just how important it is to us. Now, Cooper, we know that you're an artist yourself, and I think it's safe to say that none of the rest of us have a lot of skill in that area. We obviously don't have to be an artist to appreciate art, but now that we have someone that does what you do here, I'd like to learn your perspective on art and video games. And, is that the first thing that you take notice of, or is the gameplay king for you?
Yeah, I have a crazy hot take when it comes to graphics and artwork in games. And I feel like it's what you notice first, like immediately. Because in the trailer, they don't hand you a controller. So you have to literally be immersed in what you see. So if the artwork doesn't connect with you, they're not going to get the controller in your hand and be like, all right, let's play it, unless you're already diehard for that type of game. And that, I would say, experience reaches a lot further. But if it's not popping to your eye, I don't think it's going to make it to your hands. So
That is really interesting. I feel like that's just a take I wasn't expecting, but it totally makes sense. And we have a comment, actually, I'm going to read that actually echoes what you're saying. Tim Thane from our community says, art brings me in, but gameplay keeps me there.
correct. I totally agree. That's the one. Because I mean, anytime that I've ever wanted to pick up a game, just like the mascot game, if you'd have told me that on paper, just giving me a sense of what it was, like Japanese mascots, I wouldn't have cared. But the artwork actually caught me a little bit. I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to see what that's about. So I would say that it definitely brings people in. But yeah, like if the gameplay is trash, like I'm with everybody else on that one. Like it's not going to keep me there. I might sell it. I might hand it off, digital card, or was it viral card? Like, I mean, but yeah, I think that the artwork, it speaks to people without saying anything. Like you just let your eyes do the talking and then it's good to go.
Okay. Well, and not to put you on the spot with this question, but can you think of a game where the art style didn't grab you, but you wound up loving it anyway?
Vice City. Just off the top of my head immediately. Like I don't look at that game and be like, oh yeah, like this is amazing to look at. It was not amazing to look at. However, like I played that game 2-3 summers in a row back to back with my friends simply because of the gameplay experience. What's another one that was like that? Any of the old school Mario games where like it's not just blowing me away from what's happening on the screen, but like, oh my goodness, like just play after play after play after play after play because I loved it. I loved how it felt.
Yeah, gameplay definitely was a big thing. Although I would probably argue that Mario 3 probably pushed the Nintendo its capacity back then, but but it's nothing that's realism. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. Like
Yeah.
it's something that you could see it drawn and being like, okay, that's cool because it's 2D art initially. It's not in the 3D world of like Vice City. And even if we look at Vice City during that time, it was like cutting edge because of open world. It wasn't because of like how it looked per se. Because we knew that it still looked a little bit cartoony. Like it wasn't Square Enix doing, these wild end cut scenes and whatnot. But yeah, I think that if you love a game, once you pick up the controller, like you're gonna be there, whether it's graphics came from a dumpster or if Michael Bay shot it. Like it's definitely yeah. I'm stretching on the Michael Bay reference, but yeah, like I'm glad that I heard the sticker on that one because I was going for it. I was. But yeah, like I do believe that, especially now, like looking at gamers that have been around, like gaming's getting into like the 70s now, where like you have, we have like the elderly playing them because they were around with them, all the way to like kids who are 5. It's a mixed bag. It's really a mixed bag. It just depends on what you're into visually. But I feel like good gameplay, it's gonna trump once it's in your hands.
All right. And just to be clear, like I'm not here saying that everything else in the game is not art.
For sure.
The writing is the art. The sound design is art. The music is art. Everything. We're just kind of focusing on that because you've done the visual aspect of it. But
correct.
Jake, what about you? So is art the first thing you take notice of when you're playing a game?
So I really want to play a game because I want to be able to play a game. I'm not trying to look at the game or whatever. So I would rather have a teaser trailer be less cinematic and more gameplay.
Oh yeah,
and
I mean,
so I want to see. So I want to see what's actually happening, what you're actually going to be doing in the game. Because I've seen a lot of cinematic trailers that look amazing, and then the game is completely different from what it looks like. For
Dead
instance,
Island.
Front Mission 5.
Oh my God, Dead Island. Yeah, you're right.
If you don't know Front Mission 5, it is a turn-based robot customization game, which I did not know that. I thought it was more going to be Armored Core because it's in the cinematic trailer. It has spinning around and stabbing and shooting and all the stuff's going on, and it's very in your face and entertaining. And then the game is turn-based.
Yeah,
it wasn't what I was expecting, and it turned me off for a little bit until I got into the actual game itself, and then I was like, okay, well, it kind of redeemed itself with its own gameplay. But the initial, this is what I'm going to be getting, and this is what I got, was extremely turning off to me, and I didn't play it for a long time until I kind of like, well, fine, I'll give it a chance. But I'm more of a theater of the mind guy, like even especially with older games, like, okay, yeah, you're going through, playing Zelda as a kid. Those games look like crap. But you're going through a forest. You can imagine a forest. You're facing this person. You can imagine, all of these things and whatever. And so I feel like with people who like to imagine what the game looks like in their head, it's more about the representation and a starting point rather than everything needs to be pointed out, detailed, and extrapolated for you so that like you yourself puts your own spin on the game that you're playing.
I dig that. Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense.
The theater of the mind thing really stuck with me because like, that's all we had. We didn't have any comparison when we were kids, right? We didn't, and that was your only option was to, I mean, I'll admit it, man. That's what I did. I imagined like I was picturing something different. And I think that's why you mentioned Zelda. I think that's why that opening section of Ocarina of Time, when you first come out into Hyrule Field, was just so eye-opening. Again, that looks kind of laughable by compared to today's standards, but to see the things that you had, see the enemies that you'd been watching on a 2D screen for years brought to life in 3D, these things that you imagined, it kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? It legitimized what was going on in my head back then. Same thing with Metroid Prime. First time I played Metroid Prime and I saw a scree in 3D, like those things that were just 2-dimensional when I was a kid, and or the little, I can't remember what they're called, the little guys that just kind of go around the rocks, and I in 3 dimensions just blew my mind. This is what I imagined Samus was doing back then, and they're just getting better and better.
Well, it goes, now you've got the games that have the grass and stuff, and it blows in the wind and all that kind of stuff, and I can look back at old games and it was like, well, the ground was green. This was a path because it was brown. This was a path because it was brown, and this was grass because it was green. And maybe it had a little texture, maybe it had a leaf, maybe it had a blade, but it wasn't 3-dimensional grass. It was just something that was just painted, and you knew what it was, but like you imagined it so much more in your head.
Yeah. Do you remember the first time playing Halo and looking down at the ground and saw blades of grass?
That was different. Like, I'm like, what is this? It's a crazy trip.
Yeah.
Or you looked up and you saw the other half of the ring.
Right.
Yeah, that was wild.
And you're like, what?
But real quick though, I think Jake made a really good point. I feel like that's why a lot of people don't lean on graphics as much, is because you have a lot of developers that will bring in a beautiful team for cutscenes and then forget the fact of the gameplay. Like I feel like Midnight Suns was a crazy bait and switch. That was insane. I thought I was getting like one of like the old school X-Men joints, and then it was turn-based, and I was like, that's not
No, that's not what I want.
no. And then
That's not what I saw.
Right. And I think that's where you misuse art. Like clearly we're gonna like the cutscenes, but like when you mislead, because I feel like that was misleading. Like you should lead with the turn base at that point. Because then no one's gonna feel ill about it. Like, well, I'm going in knowing that. And I think a lot of times, you know, if you come, and then I'm not even mad at Jake for feeling that way, because it's, if you come into a situation and you're like, oh man, that trailer looked amazing, and then you know the last game that you saw with an amazing trailer, but it turned out to be like a mobile game, you'll be like,
well, like that just happened with the Game of Thrones game, right? A few months ago.
There you go.
We all thought we were getting a cool Game of Thrones RPG, and it just turns out to be yet another mobile game.
Yeah, you can't do that to people. Like I think that's unfair. Like I would, like in that case, I totally agree with Jake. Like I don't need your trailer to look amazing if the gameplay is gonna be like, I don't need that.
I like what you said, Cooper, about like misusing art for something else, and that kind of got me thinking about. You said you know, a lot of people aren't worried as much about art. I think the vocal minority on the internet would disagree, because I think that is adding fuel to the fire to the console wars, because nobody cares which game looks better on which console, but they're still going to argue about it.
I had made a comment on Discord about how this could be a generational issue, because again, we're a little bit older. We grew up with, you know, a certain level of graphics, and as graphics have gotten better, there's at some point where all of us have gone, all right, this is the peak graphics. We don't need to have it any better. And then today's kids look at it and go, well, that's so 2004. That's so, you know, whatever. And they needed to have, you know, they need to have reflections in the eyeballs, and, you know, the mirrors need to work properly. The water needs to wave, you know, all this crazy stuff. But that's what they need to have it be a good looking game. And we could go back to Mario 64 and go, well, you were underwater, you knew because there was bubbles. Like,
I gotta disagree. I mean, the most popular games with kids are Fortnite and Roblox.
Yep,
man, the Roblox game. Yeah,
but those are popular for different reasons. Like if you try to take if you try to take an older game and go, hey, this was a great game back in the day, you should play it. Oh, this looks like crap, I'm not going to play it. Oh, this looks like, you know, whatever, I'm not going to play it.
You might be right. You might be right, but then those kids are dumb.
I think it's theater of the mind. I think it's what you said, Jake. Like, I think their theater of the mind is in Roblox, of them building and just being industrial when it comes to those games. Yeah, I think it really is that. But like, I don't like the new generation for so many reasons. But the big reason is that when they look back at these games that they didn't play, and they're like, oh, that's trash. Like, example, one of the kids, I was telling them about the Duke Nukem games, because they like all these FPS games, and they're just like, what's Duke Nukem? It's probably stupid. It's an Unk game. I'm like, are you serious right now? Like what is wrong with you? Like that, it's insane. Like, I don't get it.
Oh my God. And see, I've had the exact opposite. I've had the exact opposite reaction. I brought like an NES Classic to my classroom when I was teaching 4th grade. I brought in one of those plug and play Ataris. You know what I'm talking about? Where you just like did the RCA jacks, and then you had just a joystick with one single button.
Yeah.
I brought the Super Nintendo Classic, and those kids ate up all that stuff. We played a little bowling game on the Atari where the pins are literally 10 squares set up like bowling pins, and the character looks like an Atari 2600 and rolled a square ball down the lane, and they would have sat there and played that for hours if I let them. I brought in Pac-Man on the NES Classic. That's all they wanted to do was play that. I brought in Final Fantasy VI, 3 on the SNES Classic. This little girl, you know, read the dialogue and beat the first boss all on her own without any prompts from me. 4th grader, and I was just like, kind of, so the whole like negative, you know, this is an old game. You use the phrase unk. I don't know what that means, man. I'm not gonna lie.
It means old but not old enough, guy. Yeah.
Old but not old enough. Okay.
Yeah.
So like I feel like that's more of a middle school thing. I feel like the really younger generation are still like just okay with anything as long as it's fun to play.
I feel that. Yeah, they haven't got to public opinion yet. Like they haven't got to the
Right,
cult of
right.
personality where like, well, they don't think it's cool, so I have to trash on it too. So I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Zach, what about you, man? Is art the first thing you notice?
Well, yeah, I guess to Cooper's point, how could it not be, right? That's the first thing you see.
Mm-hmm.
But I have enjoyed games I do not like the look of, and I've hated games that I love the look of. Right? Like
Mhm.
I think Borderlands looks amazing. I can't stand it. Obviously,
Man, I'm with you on that one. Yeah, for
good.
sure.
Yeah, smart guy.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks beautiful, like, but I won't pick up the controller.
No. So as a make, so I guess it's not really make or break, but it definitely draws you in. It certainly gets me to play games I wouldn't play otherwise. Like Hi-Fi Rush being a rhythm action game is not something I would touch in 100 years without the very cool aesthetics of it.
Mhm.
So it can definitely draw you in. Style goes a long way. Or like remember that game 13? It's based on the
Yeah.
French graphic novel,
Yeah.
but they actually make it
Yeah.
look like a comic book. And otherwise, it would just be kind of a bog standard shooter. But because of those visual flares, like it's exciting to play. It's something interesting.
I got a remastered copy of that game sitting right over here that I bought for like $5 that I never opened.
The remake that they had to remake.
Yeah, they had to remake the remake because it. Yeah, I remember that story.
So bad.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
Well, you know what they call that now? That's just downloadable content. Like
Yeah.
like that's remake what?
I guess having to rebuild your game after you've sold it, I guess, is just standard operating procedure these days. But
yeah, pretty much.
It really is.
Yeah, one patch.
Yeah.
So yeah,
1.1.
So I guess I mean maybe 13 might be the example of a game where the art style made it, because otherwise I'm not sure that game would be very fun. But otherwise, yeah, it's just kind of it's there to get you in. But as long as this game's good, as long as the story's great, like I could look past an art style I don't gel with, I think.
I think you made a good point about art saving games, because like I'm an avid Sonic fan, and if it wasn't for the art, I probably wouldn't have played it, because just how fast it moves. Like I don't but the art tied that whole situation together for me because it was just so vibrant. But like, if the artwork was halving on that, no, it just looks like a throw up. It looks like a roller coaster. It was crazy.
or like Jet Set Radio, that would be a very simple game otherwise, but the style and the look of it, dude, it's like I can't put it down.
Man, I missed that game.
So maybe art can go a long way, actually. And I think people remember art. The games. I feel like it's been said to death, but art style trumps technical fidelity every time.
Man, if it's done right,
right. Well, they can be timeless. It's easy to. You can't really tell the age of a Jet Set Radio like you can. I don't know if you compare like the PS2 God of Wars to PS5. They look.
Oh, definitely.
League's different, but I feel like I don't know. Anyway, yeah, art's great. I think
that's a great one. Yeah, go ahead, Scott.
My take on art is like it's obviously very important for the reasons that you guys mentioned. It definitely draws you in. It's kind of the thing that sells you on the game. Doesn't always have to be the art that sells you on it, because a lot of times the gameplay can too. Or if it's a sequel to a franchise you love, or there's some tie to a franchise that you've got, or we've talked and we've had the debates in the past about the storytelling, like what's most important in your game, storytelling, art, or gameplay. My thing with the art is if it gets me in, great, but I also feel at some point I don't notice the intensity of the graphical fidelity after a while. I bought myself a 65-inch screen, OLED, 4K, and I came home and I watched a couple nature videos on it and just was blown away by how clear it was. And Assassin's Creed, I think Odyssey came out at that point, and I was just blown away by how cool it looked, and I stopped noticing an hour into the game because I was so focused on gameplay. You know what I mean? Like it didn't wow me anymore, and I don't mean that in a negative way. Like it's not a gorgeous game. It's just it's the initial wow factor that's there that kind of goes away, and that's where the generational thing comes in as well.
That's
because take the short attention span that we have with art and compound that by about 50 when it comes to kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they'll think something's cool for a minute, and then they're on to the next thing. You can thank TikTok for that probably, but
we got a comment about the Sonic one, but I think that made it wild for me when I just thought about it. What's wild to me is that it proved itself when the actual Sonic movie came out. Because I don't think I've ever heard anybody argue about Sonic games or how they looked. It's always about how they played, because the play was always janky or weird. But it's funny when they actually made a live action Sonic and all the fans are like, nah, you gonna have to fix this, son. Like that's not going. Because I feel like everybody connected with that all together and was like, yeah, visually, y'all gonna have to do something with that, because we know Sonic to look amazing, even if it plays horribly. I feel like that crossover makes the same sense. Now, when Mario came out as a movie, I don't think it would have ever had a problem, because I feel like Mario always steps its graphics down just for the gameplay to be amazing. So then when it does make that step up, everybody's like, yeah. Like when I saw the Wonder that came out recently, the Mario game Wonder, to me as a kid, because I think old school Mario when I think Mario. So when I saw that, like, I was like, this is like a fever dream. Like, this is crazy. So I feel like they're playing into the idea of having lower graphics just to, kick it up to 10 every now and then. So I feel like that's the great juxtaposition between the two. And yes, they're still rivals to me in my head. Like that's like Bloods and Crips to me. Like it's always going to be that way.
Yeah, that's
one is red, one is blue. I mean,
Kevin, our producer, is a massive Sonic fan, and we butt heads about Mario and Sonic all the time. So the fact that they were in a game together still blows my mind.
Yeah,
but they're not in the right game together yet. Why is there no platform with those two?
Wouldn't it be rad?
That would be crazy. Robotnik and Bowser together.
Oh yeah, that'd be incredible. That'd be great, actually.
How would you do that though? Like from a gameplay standpoint, because Mario's not going to run the loops and fly across all the way across the map and speedrun stuff.
That's why they got it. That's why he's got to tag it as homie Sonic.
You know what? I would actually like it that way simply because I don't think we give Mario's power-ups enough credit for that. Because I feel like, what if they switch worlds? Because I feel like Sonic would do fine because like just how that's built. But I feel like Mario transversing Sonic's worlds with his different power-ups, I think that would be crazy. Like
give him just an unlimited star power for a level?
Like what about the feather? Or like even like the cat power-up, or even like the new elephant one where he's just like running through like the loops and whatnot. Yeah, if they like switched games and they had different villains, I would love to see how that play out. Like Bowser versus Sonic and then Robotnik versus Mario. I think it would be. I think that'd be wild.
Why has it not happened yet? Why has that not happened yet?
I would just have it. I would just have it be the 3D levels of Mario, and then you do 2 levels of Sonic, but one game. But that might be too simple for Nintendo's needs.
That's true. Like they might want to blow it out the box on that one.
Yeah, they always got to experiment, do something crazy.
But yeah, once again, I feel like those art styles would complement each other simply because, like even if it's faster, slow paced, those art styles will blend beautifully together.
Bring it.
I mean, yeah.
Look, yo, you gotta check the comments. They wild.
Sonic kills the Justice League. Dude, they're friends. They're friends in the comics right now. There's crossovers. Sonic and Justice League.
Well, let's jump over and see what the community thought about this topic. We're gonna we got some comments over on Discord. I'm gonna kick things off with Thomas Becks, who said gameplay and story is more important, but you will need a lot more convincing if you want me to play a game that has a style I don't like. I generally do not like voxel style, but when I reviewed a game, A Painter's Tale, which is completely in that style, I had no issues with it because the story was so compelling. So, there's an example of somebody that wasn't a fan of the art style, but the story was so good they stuck through. So,
no, that makes sense. Like, I mean, I feel like it's kind of like dating at that point, where they tell you it's like, yeah, they're so attractive, and then when you talk to them, it's like, nah, this is not gonna go. And then the opposite, where it's just like, I wasn't really attracted to it, but man, that conversation, like, I think it.
I love you, baby, but here's your paper bag.
Still counts.
Still counts. Count it.
I got that reference, Zach. Put the bag on my head still counts. All right, Jake, you want to read the next one?
Why do I always have to read Kevin's?
Zach can read Kevin's if you prefer.
No, I got it. Kevin Hunnikerg writes, I wish it wasn't that way for me, but unfortunately on my end, art design can be a serious turnoff. There have been a handful of times that games sounded really intriguing, but the art style was something that I just could not get over for some reason. This isn't restricted to small games either, as some of the most well-received and most recommended games out there suffer from the same issue in my head. Undertale is a perfect example. Under the surface, it sounds like a game I'd love, but the visuals are like nails on a chalkboard to my eyes. I've tried insanely, I just can't.
That's a good example of one for me that I've never been able to get into that game, and people love that game and the music and everything, and I just could not get into it.
It has a following. I don't get it either, but again, it was the same reason why he couldn't. It was like it just didn't appeal to me at all.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty good.
I don't
understand the fervor. But anyway, continue, Jake, please.
But the nails on the chalkboard screams, because I don't. I play a lot of different games, and I've played a lot of indie games and whatnot. But some of those games, they just come with so much visual noise that you just can't look at the screen anymore. And it's like, I don't know what you were thinking when you tried to add all of this stuff so that somebody has to deal with all at once.
Yeah, that's nutty. Yeah, there's visual noise. I think you made a very good point, because there's a lot of times where people try and hide things in the visual noise or the blurs or, all of the effects. And that is just too much going on. Yeah. Like, I'm trying to think of a game that hit me with a lot of that, where I'm just like, Saints Row 4. Saints Row 4, sure. Like the first half of the game is cool because the engine's keeping up with it, but then after that we're dropping frames like crazy because it's just trying to do so much. It's it's one of those, like, it looked beautiful until you guys took it too far, and when visuals go bad on you.
Settings, particles, none.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I remember that being a big problem with Tales of Arise, because I thought the game looks great until you get into combat, and there's so much going on all the time. Everybody's screaming. Every attack's got 50 particle things going on. It's just like, I feel like I don't know what just happened. So yeah, it definitely happened. That's a real thing for sure.
Zach, you want to take the next one?
Sure. Aaron Hughes II writes in, I definitely lean towards gameplay with these two elements. There are circumstances where the art might throw me, but those are so rare that I can't think of a title right now that would fall into that category. I want something that enthralls me and pulls me in by how it runs, what I can do, and the story behind it. FF15 was beautiful. I was not a fan of the gameplay, nor how I felt like it dragged me along for too long, but the story, and importantly, the book I could finally finish, is what kept me going.
Yeah, man, I feel like I'm gonna go back and forth with Aaron on this. I still love Final Fantasy 15, but hey,
yeah, that one I hear a lot of hit or miss on artwork. Where like Final Fantasy series, there's people. It runs the gambit. Like, there's this whole spectrum of like, I love this, but the artwork is weird, all the way up to like, I love the artwork, but I never touched the game. So like, I don't know about that one. I think they probably made it balanced just from having that spectrum, or at least from what I perceived.
Fair enough. Cooper, you want to take the next one, dude?
Yeah, sure. All right. So Alan Sheck, I assume by quote unquote art, we're referring to visuals. I know this is pedantic, but I see every aspect of the game design as art, kind of like what you were saying. That's crazy. Including the sound, the acting, the level design, the NPC behavior. And of course, there is an art, italicized, to creating compelling gameplay. Of course, the gameplay itself is the essence of the game, so it's hard to argue that the visuals are more important. But I will say a large portion of my gaming time is actually spent completely ignoring intended gameplay and instead wandering around and appreciating well-designed environments. Those environments, man. That's why I love Rise of the Ronin, because like you could let that game sit and it looks like a screensaver. Like it's amazing just to watch it move. And then they have seasons and like day and night. So like it's beautiful. It looks like one of those YouTube videos that the kids, watching the class and they should be doing their homework. But it's like, you know what? That is beautiful. Like I can't be mad at it. So yeah,
I feel like with the wandering around and appreciating the environment thing is something I did in my younger years when I wasn't trying to get through games as quickly as I can.
that's true.
But I'm also doing that now with Assassin's Creed. But I still would argue that the reason I'm doing it is not because I'm exploring and experiencing Japan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to upgrade and become a badder character. You know what I mean? A
feel
more
that.
badass
Yeah.
character. So, yeah, sometimes I feel like I'm doing it for the experience, but sometimes the art is the experience behind it. So,
Yeah.
next
I think
comment
both
comes.
things can be right. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. David Newman says, I think overall my experience is more dictated by gameplay. If the game is or isn't fun to play, I'll remember that more than the art design. However, art design does play a part in my selection of games. There's been plenty of games I've avoided simply because I didn't like the art. Art design also enhances my experience. Most of the wow moments I have is simply finding a moment in the environment that is breathtaking and sitting there for a few moments. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do this both in Dark Souls games and in the new Monster Hunter games.
Okay.
There are just moments where I'm running around doing stuff, and for whatever reason, the scenic view is just, I have to take a moment to just take it all in, and then go back to killing the monster that I was hunting. But
yeah, that's so real. Oh, real quick, DCUO. So DC Universe Online, there's this glitch that would happen where you're like in the watchtower and you would like fall through the floor and you'll end up outside of the watchtower, and they have like a full space where you have stars and everything and you're looking at the watchtower. I have this picture from like 2008 with my character just floating there. And I'm just like, yo, if they added this, like, this is amazing. But clearly it's a glitch. Like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just seeing that, I was like, you know what? Bravo to the developer, whoever was on the team who actually put outer space outside of this. So to at least still give it an aesthetic.
I'm surprised they don't let you just explore outside around the watchtower. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it was amazing.
Guys, we are about out of time. We're going to have to fast forward here a little bit because
we're almost done.
I know we got to get through here. So we're going to skip these last couple of comments, not because they're not good, but we are just very, very short on time. So thank you, everybody that wrote in with these comments. Some really insightful stuff here. Really do appreciate it. Next week, by the time you guys hear this episode, the Switch 2 is announced, but we're going to dedicate next week's episode to everything that was announced at the Nintendo Direct that's taking place first thing tomorrow. What we thought about it, the games, we're just going to do a whole topic on that. So stay tuned for that next week on the socials. We will be asking for some input, and look forward to that. That's going to do
wild. They announced Grand Theft Auto 6 as a Switch 2 exclusive.
Oh my God!
Didn't see that coming.
What? Dude. Hold on. What?
No. I'm just joking.
Yeah, break the internet.
Yeah. So that will do it for this week's Gaming Outsider. Mr. Cooper, Renaldo, thank you for being our guest. We really appreciate you being here.
Great. It's always been great. Thank you.
And where can our listeners follow you and your work?
Crans.world. You can put that in any browser, and then you'll pop up anything that I create books, comics, you name it. If it's art, I create it. You can follow me on Instagram, RUDEXVI, and then or crans.world. It's the same thing. Just beauty all around.
Awesome, man. Thanks. It's been great talking to you, and I get to talk to you tomorrow as well. So it's going to be awesome. Yeah, definitely. And everybody out there, thanks so much for listening. This episode was produced by Kevin Honigford, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemmage and Metroid Metal. Check out his site at stemmagemusic.com. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Cooper, you got any parting words or recommendations for our listeners before we get out of here?
Yeah, play a game, read a book, touch grass. That's all I got.
All right.
Grass.
That was a April Fool's thing today, by the way. Did you see that? The skins for consoles, and it was called the touch grass skin. They just put like AstroTurf on the outside of you.
There is a touch the grass game.
Is there?
Yes, it's wow. I think it's VR, and you're just a hand and you just touch grass.
What have we done?
I know, right?
They've gone too far.
What about you, Jake?
No, I'm good.
All right, Zach.
Well, we got to get out of here, man. So nope, I'm good.
Okay. I don't have too much. I don't have anything new to recommend, but I still haven't seen the second James Cameron's Avatar movie. And before I wanted to watch it, my wife and I sat down and watched the first one. And I don't think I've seen that movie since the theater. And I really enjoyed that. I know that movie gets a lot of crap, and I don't understand why. I thought that movie was really
It's
enjoyable.
popular. That's
Is
why.
that
It's
what it is?
popular. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
it's
a well-made movie. Like
It's big enough
not
to
much
hate.
yeah, there's not much to really complain about it as a movie. So it's just people have to just hate it because it's popular.
It's just visually a treat, and like the villain was so good. And I'm just really intrigued to see where they go with it for the next one. And I just like the whole bringing down of the tree thing. I just forgot how impactful that was. Like that
Mhm.
was just
for
like
sure.
a brutal thing that was going on, and it just devastating. And then like the redemption and the fight at the end, the action was awesome. I'm like legitimately looking forward to seeing the sequel. I know it's probably I don't remember how it reviewed. I just remember people saying it was super, super long, but it
I
was
think it's
pretty.
great. I think it
Yeah.
is a great movie. Yeah.
Okay. I'm looking forward to jumping back into that. So just saying, if you haven't seen it in a while, go back. I think it's worth a revisit, and I'll report back on the sequel. All right, guys, it is time for us to get out of here. Thank you so much again. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson and Jacob Gunderson, and we are the Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.